Hey, everybody, welcome to the Entrepreneur Motivation Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Bello, and today I've got Billy Jean on the show. Welcome to the show.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Thanks for having me, brother.
What's up? How are you doing on your side of things? Are you guys staying busy, staying
Yeah,
productive, staying
shit, man. I
sane?
mean, it's like you got to adapt. Like they say recession optional, right? Now,
Right,
granted, there's
right.
definitely industries that have been hit harder, and there are more challenges that have come some people's way or not. But nonetheless, everybody has to adapt. Like you got to adapt. I guess some people got lucky and just happen to have an industry where there's a spike in demand, right? But even they have to adapt to that.
Definitely.
So it's like, for me, at first it was like, oh shit, what's happening? And then you get like 6 seconds to wallow in that, and then you got to do some other shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, or
Right.
or get fucked. Like, it's not what else do you do? Like, just sit there and go like bankrupt. So you make an adjustment and you change a message and do it. So that's what we've been doing. And in between that, I launched a podcast and created a 30-day content series. And I probably would never have done either one of those things if it wasn't for quarantine. So
Exactly. I've had some friends and
started
business
writing a book.
owners. Started a book too.
Yeah.
So much time for self-reflection and activities,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I tried to download the new Modern Warfare the other day just to find out my computer can't even run it. So I was like, this is a blessing. I don't need to be
Well, first of all, why
distracted.
were you playing on PC? That's where you fucked
I
up. You don't have
know,
an
man.
Xbox?
My Xbox, it's dusty. It hasn't been touched in 3 years. I stopped playing.
Oh
Tried to
man,
turn it
that is
on.
horrible
The
news.
update doesn't work. But I've been so focused, and my friend's like, dude, download the game. Let's play. Let's play.
Let me tell you, you're doing the right thing, but I'll be
Yeah,
very clear with you. Throughout my entire entrepreneurial journey, I've never put down the Xbox. We did it for a month.
really.
We did it for a month just to see if we can do it, and it definitely helped. And I did focus on other things. All the benefits are completely real. But
Yeah.
another benefit that I do not want to give up is having fucking fun. And boy, I love me
Hell
some
yeah, man.
Xbox.
Okay, good. Because my girlfriend was like, we should get a PlayStation. I'm like, nah, I'm an Xbox person. We should have talked
Hey,
about this when we started dating,
yeah,
right?
you better let her go. Just tell her time is up. But I do like how she supported video games.
She does. She's a big fan. So that's awesome, man. I'm glad to hear that you're able to balance the video games and the work because I know a lot of times people get in entrepreneurship and they feel like you got to have one or
I
the
just gave up
other.
sleep. I just gave up sleep.
Oh,
Like
how much do you
that's
sleep
the
at
truth.
night?
Like none. Like none. Like
You
I
just
mean, I know and
Tesla
that you got to
charging?
remember too. Like this sleep thing has really been hype over the last 3 years.
Yeah,
Like that's like everything is very trendy. Like you know what I mean. And not that it wasn't important then. Not saying that, but
right.
like nah. I just literally just don't sleep. Like and it's not good, right? Sometimes I'll try again. I'm not telling anyone to do it this way. But I mean, if you're in a position where you're like, God, I want to play Xbox, and you're like, fuck, I also want to build a business. Awesome. Don't sleep. That
Right.
is the answer.
I
Like
remember
it's
hearing
just
that.
it's just don't fucking sleep. Yeah.
Even in college, they were like, good grades, party or social life, sleep. Pick two, right? You can't get all three. You don't get good
Yeah.
grades, have fun, party all the time, and get to sleep your
I
8 hours
did
a
I did
night.
social life and that's it. I didn't get good grades or sleep. So it was
So you
just
picked one
one.
side of the triangle. That's
Yeah,
good.
I was the social chair of my fraternity. So as you can imagine, what comes with
Social.
that. It was yeah, it was
Party
that.
planner. Yeah. Event
Yeah.
coordinator.
Opposite of social distancing.
So do you want to let's dive in a little bit to your background, I guess, because I remember I heard you worked at a call center and that kind of was formative for you and just getting into marketing and understanding how people work and how people think. Can you talk a little bit about that background and
Yeah.
how it's had an impact on your career?
Yeah, for everybody listening, look, my background, my story is like almost every other entrepreneur is on the planet. Is I didn't have any money. I sucked ass at what I did. I got good at it, and here we are. Like, and I bring that up because it's like, all right, sure, there's probably some motivation, some exciting things that can come from my background story, but like at the end of the day, my parents gave me an opportunity where I was healthy and I had the ability to learn, and they placed me in some good environments. So I had a duty to succeed. I fucked up a lot. I tried to figure things out on my own. I had a failed mobile oil change company, got a job at a call center. It was checking in people at 24-hour fitness, living between the homies' houses, etc. Trying to figure it out. And I got really good at something. I had a unique ability, which was selling shit on Facebook. And I parlayed that from me by myself in my parents' house to here having an office in downtown San Diego, where my podcast studio now, and a team of about under about 30. So
30 people right now.
mhm.
Wow. That's really impressive, actually. So the 30 people, I'm just curious, how do you divide up the tasks and the work between everybody? Do you've got separate teams
Yeah,
within
good
your
question.
team?
Well, and this is good. There's a good book called Scaling Up by Vern Harnish. I don't know if I see it behind you or not, but if not,
I'm gonna write that
add it to
down.
there. Yeah, Scaling Up by Vern Harnish. But you realize that every business is exactly the same. So, like, what aspects of the business are there? It's the same in any company that has hit growth, which is you have marketing team or someone who is responsible for generating interest. Then you have people who are responsible for collecting credit cards. Then you have people who are responsible for delivering whatever you promise. And as those things grow, then you need management and leadership, and maybe someone solely to focus on operation as it grows a little more. And then you have legal. And then so when a lot of money comes in, there becomes a lot of games in the finance in regards to,
Right.
tax strategy, et cetera. So there's no business that, like, people think it's like this optional thing. And no, it's what happens when a business evolves. It is the stages of business. And so, you can't, it's what it is. It's what it is.
So the stages of business, that's very important to know because I find myself struggling with the growing the team aspect as well. We like to have control and do everything. And I'm like, I tried to outsource that. It didn't get done right. Let me
Yeah.
just do
Well,
it.
it's just impossible, right? Like
Yeah,
as you continue to grow, if you decide to even grow that way, right? It's just impossible. You will
you
have
can't
to
do it
let go.
all.
You
Yeah,
can't. It's just not possible. And, because there's only so
exactly.
many hours in a day and there's so many fixed tasks, doesn't
Absolutely.
mean you can't make more money. You're just doing your thing, right? And like, in that, but if you want to grow into the next phase, you got to.
And it is the best feeling when you hand it off and it gets done better than you could even do it. And you're just like,
Mhm.
why didn't I do this earlier?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
It's an
for sure.
incredible feeling. So you talk about the three E's before. Can you dive into that just for my audience if they haven't
Yeah,
come
yeah,
across
yeah.
that?
Entertain, educate, execute. And most people, when they think about their business, well, you say, how are you going to get customers? And they give you a broad answer. And they say something like social media. Okay. Well,
Social media
there's
strategy.
a lot of elements to do that. Like, what are you going to do specifically on social media? And the reason why I say entertain before you educate is because a lot of people don't realize when you're posting on social media who they're competing with. They
Mhm.
think, like, if you ask the business owner, like, hey, who's your competition? They may say somebody else in their industry that resembles them. But the truth is, their competition is the coronavirus. Their competition is every single person in the world is talking about coronavirus. Their competition is
Right.
Trump tweeting something. Their competition is Adele losing weight, which really was the number one search term in the world, a couple weeks ago. This is all their competition, because when you're trying to find a customer on social media, it means you're trying to reach somebody on their cell phone. Well, when they're scrolling, they only see so many things. They're seeing all that other stuff because that's getting engaged with. So for you to stand out when they're looking at all those other things, that's really who you're competing with. And so in order to show up in the newsfeed, show up on their cell phone, you got to be entertaining. And I always say boring will put you out of business, because a lot of companies think you can just continue with some stale, whack ass, boring message, and people do not give a fuck.
Right.
And it's going to go out of business. And people say, well, look at the company that's been around for 50 years that's, doing it. Well, first of all, they've been around for 50 fucking years and they have a bunch of resources that you don't. But the second thing is they're adapting too. When you look at all the insurance companies, people say, well, my industry is not fun. No, you're just not creative. Look at Gecko, the little lizard fucker from the Geico.
Geico
Look at the,
commercials. Yeah.
Aflac, the duck. Look at,
Right.
Flow, Progressive. Look at the Allstate. Look at the Mayhem Men. It's not true. Look at the alcohol companies and the way they do it. The frogs back in the day, Budweiser, like all those things. Like, it's entertainment. It's always one. It's not a new formula. It's just become it's been more prevalent and relevant right now because of this social media platform where everybody tries to fish.
Right. It's more of a new platform instead of just doing Super Bowl ads or something or television. I think Gary Vee talks about it, right? People, they can't grab the remote fast enough just to fast forward through commercials if they've TiVoed stuff. And even now, people just watch stuff on Netflix. I don't even have
Mm-hmm.
cable on my house, so I have no commercials at all. So the only
Yeah.
ads that I ever see are on social media or maybe at the top of my Google search and things like that.
Yep.
So whenever you're entertaining, I know you're big on like interrupting people, talking directly to the person, getting their
Mm-hmm.
attention, right? Is that still what you've seen the most success with?
Yeah, 100%. What I mean by that is, like, I see people create an advertisement or a message. And I think the old school shit of, like, when you watch television and, like, cast member number one is talking to cast member number two, it just doesn't translate on social media because people want you to talk to them. It's almost like, why are you talking to each other? Like, say it to me. And
Right.
so if you're a thespian or you're into plays and shit, they call it breaking down the fourth wall, where you take a moment, and it's when, if you ever seen a play or something, and then one of the cast members looks at the audience and then he says something directly to you, that's breaking down the fourth wall. And it's the same thing that you got to do on social media, is talk directly to them. You know, hey, are you looking to get your carpets clean? Like, I'm talking to you. I know this is an ad on Facebook. Like, talk about the environment. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to
Okay.
create a fantasy. Like, literally talk about exactly what's happening, you know, and be real.
So you're open about it.
People pay. I'll be so open for it. People want transparency. People want imperfection. People want real. People want unscripted. You know, I just had a student right now create an ad, and she was reading in her ad. Just imagine making an ad. She's fucking sitting there and she has her printout. She's looking down. She's stopping and she's reading. And she's like, well, I did it. I'm like, cool, put it out. She spent $26, got 4 leads, closed 2 sales.
That's
She's
cool.
reading in the ad.
You would have thought, like looking down, people would assume that, oh, it's not a great
Most
ad.
people do. And that's what I'm saying is it
Huh.
was just the ultimate test of people don't give a fuck about the polished shit.
That's
Nobody
amazing.
wants that. Right? Like, everybody thinks they do, but it's not true. Those are just the loud people. It's not true.
I've learned that a lot because I mean, here I'm not in a studio or anything. This is just a little office in my house. And before I have 2 cats and a dog, and they're always jumping up on stuff and barking in the background. And I'm like locking them away because I want it to be perfect. But I kind of accepted that lately too,
Let
where I'm
them
just like,
bark.
the
You
dog's going to
know?
bark, the roommate might come back with their 2-year-old and I'm going to hear screaming in the background. It is
And
what it
there's
is, right?
definitely a time for both. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's like, hey, I'm doing a professional interview. Like, keep the fucking dogs out of here, right? Like, you
exactly.
know, or but if it's like, hey, I'm shooting a video and I just want to get something out to my people, so do whatever, right? Like, whatever
Yeah.
feels good, you know. So yeah,
So the imperfections really just show the authenticity in a way where people can
imperfection
relate.
sells. Imperfection sells.
Definitely. I'm seeing that
Imperfection fucking
more
sells.
with YouTube channels too, right? Because people used to have the crazy studio setup. It looks perfect. The pillow's just right. And now it's just like a selfie video. I mean, like,
Yeah.
Ty Lopez cell phone video in front of the bookshelf, right? That
Yep.
type of thing is becoming more and more popular from what I've been noticing. And I see
Yep.
your ads too, right? You're like tap on the glass or whatever. I'm like,
Yeah. 100%.
usually we're trying to skip the ads, but I've heard it said before, and it's true that, the way you make your ads and the way you produce some of the higher end production ones too, I am interested in just seeing it out of like the marketing
Mhm.
curiosity. Like, what does
Sure.
he do? Like, how does he sell?
Yeah,
What's the
our
call
whole
to
idea is
action?
we want to create a brand, and I think we've done a decent job at it. Is when people see our ads, they have to watch, like,
They're
and they
like,
look
what is he
forward to
doing
it.
now?
Like, because
Right.
like the same you mentioned earlier, Super Bowl commercial. Like, people look forward. People skip commercials all year long, but they look
Yes.
forward to Super Bowl. Why? Because they're fucking good.
Right. They
Because they're
invest in their
good at the
commercials.
Super Bowl. If they were good all the time, people would watch commercials. Like, people are so fucking ridiculous. They're like, people don't watch commercials. No, people don't watch boring commercials. Just the
Mm,
same way they don't watch boring movies or boring TV shows or
right.
talk to boring people. Like, that's not new. You know what I'm saying? So,
That's insane. Yeah. And I guess people are just so hesitant to even create a commercial at first, especially my entrepreneur friends and the people in the audience who are just starting off. We talked about that before we hit the record button, that we're going to dive into how to overcome that fear of creating content, of associating yourself with being a content producer, especially if you don't have any YouTube videos or anything. It can be
mhm.
difficult to think that you can actually create these videos. So do you have some advice on someone who's just starting off? How can they overcome that insecurity and just start recording, putting it out there?
Wear somebody else's shoes. And what I mean by that is, you know, most people these days, if I said, hey, let's go grab a beer and we're both in a new city, what's the first thing that we do?
You pull up, I guess, Google, Yelp, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. We would search for it, right? Now, if there's 4 restaurant selections and one restaurant has no pictures or no videos and the rest do, who automatically gets deleted the second in a millisecond? We wouldn't even
The
discuss it.
one
We
with no
wouldn't even say
pictures.
anything to each other. We would both understood that we would not go there and we would move forward.
Yeah, like this
The
place
end.
probably just opened,
Watch
or
this. That truth right there. That's why people should create content. There's nothing more to say.
that's
That's it.
it.
It's just
That's
that
the answer.
simplicity.
So in a world where there's so much competition and you have so many options, because I'm kind of like a review snob too. I only look at the 4-star and up, and if it's like 3.5 and they had a lot of bad reviews recently, I don't even go, especially if I'm traveling to a new place. So do you have any suggestions on how people can, like, mitigate the comments and respond and make sure that they're actually getting good reviews and doing good work
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
improving
Do a good fucking job.
all the time?
Like do a good job, you know, and also too, I think the biggest thing is right. People will happily post some shitty news about you, so you have
Yeah,
to actively ask people. Like when they do a
for
good
good
job, you have to
reviews.
ask them and then give them incentive for taking the action. Not don't incentivize them to say something good. Incentivize them for actually doing it. You know,
Okay,
hey. You know, if you enjoyed this service, they say something good, awesome. Will you do me a favor and go leave a review? I don't want to tell you what to say or anything. Put what you think, but
okay,
obviously you know they had a good experience. But leave a review in exchange. I'd be more than happy to give you another coupon for an additional blank or whatever the fuck. But you got to
cool.
incentivize the review because it's people's time. It's not you're not actually paying them for their or incentivizing them for their review. You're incentivizing them for their time because people don't want to like that doesn't benefit them.
That's true.
There's nothing in that for them, and so that's what that is.
I've seen some Amazon vendors are better than others at this. They'll follow up, they'll send something in the mail, like a little nice thank you card, like, please leave us a review. We're small business. This is how we survive.
Yeah.
And the ones that go out of their way like that, it makes me go out of my way a little bit more to help them
I
out.
mean, it's just math. You know, the more you ask, the
Yeah,
more you get.
it's just math. I love that. And I'm in real estate here in Houston too, so I got to do a better job of that. Sometimes it's just like, cool, enjoy your house, or I'm happy you sold your house. Bye.
Yeah.
Instead of asking
Well,
them
and we
right
get
there at the
and we
closing
get
table.
busy, right? And we
We
get
do.
busy. We get busy, you know. And so the honestly, the best way to do it is right there at the closing table. Awesome. Can you do me a favor right now? Are you happy, Mr. Customer? How happy are you? Scale of 1 to 10. How was the
Turn the
process?
camera
Was it
on.
great? Let's do something right now. You mind just saying that? And then right now, here, I'm going to send you a link. Open up your phone, click that button. You mind leaving a little
Bam.
review? I'll get you a bottle of water while you do it.
Sweet. I
You
need
know
to
what I
do
mean?
that. And
Like
it's like
get
a
the
5 minute process, make 3 minutes maybe.
5 minutes, and it'll be a review that lasts for years. That brings you business.
That is so smart. I need to actually add that to my process so I don't
Mm,
forget. Because I keep doing
100%.
the whole like smile, like, all right, see you later, man. Great talking to you. I
Yeah.
haven't, especially friends from high school, haven't seen you in 5 years, 10 years. See you later. And then
Yeah.
after that, it's kind of hard if once that moment passes, right? You can't do it like a week later. Kind of the feeling's already gone, right? They're already on to
Right.
the next
Well,
thing. People get
you
busy.
can, but there's just additional steps now required. You know what I
Yes.
mean? It is more work, more resistance, and yeah.
Absolutely. And I guess it's harder to turn down people when they ask in person, right? If it's like a text message, you could leave it on red and go do something else. If you're
That's why
sitting
you
there
got to
with
call.
somebody, yeah,
Yeah,
you got to
yeah,
call them or you got to be face to face. Like while you're there, that's probably the most impactful for sure.
100.
Awesome. So, what is your process for coming up with an ad and testing? Do you try, like I saw the Wolf of Wall Street one? Do you try to do that around the time that something's like popular and trending just so it gets more
Sure.
views?
There's one aspect of it, and then the other part too is just what's fucking fun. You know, like
That's cool.
I just don't think people take fun into consideration enough. Like sometimes we just bounce off ideas, and we're like, yeah, that sounds fucking fun. So we do it, and because the thing is like when you're being creative, you can take any scenario, you can take any prop, you can take any environment, you can always create a compelling advertisement.
Right.
So it's, hey, which one are you going to show up for the best? Which one's going to excite you the most? What is your audience going to resonate with? And so we think about all of those things and choose. And honestly too, you don't think about them too much, you just do them, because we've had plenty of ads where you put time into it and then it doesn't work that well.
Right.
Okay. And then you're fucked. Like and so that's
On
the
to the
thing is
next.
nobody knows if an ad's going to work. Nobody
Hmm.
knows if a stock's going to be at, well, insider trading, a lot of people do, but yeah,
Most
like you
people
don't
do.
know. You don't know if an ad is going to work. You don't know. You can hope, you can think, you can have strong probability, you can develop more senses as you do it more, but you don't know.
Yeah, so that goes to my next question. How do you test your ads? How long do you wait? Do you
Same
give
day.
it,
We know the same day.
the same day if it's
Same
going to
day
do
within
well
a
or
few
not?
$100, maybe 1,000, but probably like for most local businesses,
Hmm.
like on the agency stuff, when we were having the agency stuff, we'd spend $50 to know if an ad worked or not.
No way. Because
Yeah,
I've
like
heard some
ads
mixed
don't
things.
ads very rarely get better. It depends on how you're bidding, and there's complicated, but you know, there's the signs will be there. Like if you have an ad and it's already doing what it's supposed to do and it's not working, it's not just going to get better all of a sudden with time.
Right. And so
So you don't sit on your heels.
are you guys like split testing? Like if you put a video out, do you just put two out with different headlines and just
No,
see, no, you
no,
just go all in
we don't
on one
even waste
ad?
time. No, on
Cool.
one offer
One
and
offer.
one creative. We don't split test a headline because it usually doesn't move the needle enough to make money. If we're going to split test something, it is the actual creative itself, and it's a big difference, or the actual ad copy. But we usually stay away from minor because the goal is to get a home run, not just inching away where you spend all your fucking time in ads manager clicking buttons and shit. And it's
Try to
just
figure out
inefficient.
which word looks the best as a headline.
It's very inefficient. It's stupid. And most people don't even spend enough money to even know that. It's just a broken, stupid process. That what happens when you have industry giants put out, you know, a white paper, and it doesn't apply at all to small businesses. And that's my thing, is I help small businesses, and it's just horrible.
That makes sense. Cause I mean, I guess the people who've been running a successful funnel for years and years and years, and it's just been like churning out the same thing, and they're on the top of ClickBank or whatever. I can see split testing at that level making sense just to make some tweaks.
Correct.
But for the average scrappy entrepreneur who's spending like $500 ad spend a month or whatever, it's not really as relevant.
100%. You just nailed it. That's right.
That's cool though. So within $50 ad spend, you can kind of get an idea, is this going to be successful or
yeah, well,
not?
the ad spend is dictated by the objective, right? If we're trying to get a cost per sell of, you know, $25 and $50 gives us an idea if we're in the same range. If we're trying to get a cost per sell of $250 and something more pricey, well, we have to spend at least $250, $500 to know, you know.
Okay, cool. And whenever you're coming up with creatives and video ideas, I guess if it's working, do you have a certain, I mean, rule of thumb? Do you let it run as long as it works? And
spend as much money as humanly possible, as many platforms as possible.
On as many platforms as possible.
Everything that we can. If something has worked, I mean, just think about this logically. If you run an ad and it makes you money, what is the only thing there is to do? Like, you're spending money. Just imagine you're at a casino and you put $1 in, and then it spits out $2. Like, you would search frantically for as many dollars as you can find to put it in. You would go to other people, hey, let me borrow that $1. And then when that $1 comes out, I'm going to get $2 and I'll give you $0.25 for the interest. Like, you would do whatever it takes. That's what we do.
Awesome. So literally every platform. Are you guys like TikTok, LinkedIn? Like, I don't even know if you can advertise on.
We haven't I think we tested something in LinkedIn recently that didn't do that great. But we haven't really fucked with TikTok. I haven't fucked with TikTok much.
Me neither. I keep seeing a lot of people doing it, but it's just,
it's not that I would. It's not that I don't. But we're focused on what we're doing right now and being masters at that. And there'll be a time when we branch out over there.
Yeah, but and I've heard you say before too, there's so many platforms and stuff, right? So I think your suggestion was to just pick one, get good at it, and then move to others as well.
Correct.
Is that still your advice?
For sure. I mean, and again, especially small businesses, like you can make $1 million doing anything. No such thing as $1 million idea, just $1 million execution. It just, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, one platform is all you need. Like, it's irrelevant, you know?
Right.
And you should pick the platform that is suited best to your skills. You know, if you're a writer, Facebook is probably going to be really strong for you because you get to tell a story with it. Okay. You know, if you're a picture person, Instagram is probably going to be your thing. And like, if you have a product that doesn't need to be demonstrated, probably do well there. You know, if you're great on video, YouTube may be your thing. If you have a more corporate client and you like article status, LinkedIn may be your thing. You know, if you're like 13 and you like to do the floss and like twerk, like TikTok or Snapchat may be your thing. Or like, if you're selling Cheetos or whatever, you know, so you got to know where your audience is.
So when you're the scrappy entrepreneur who's doing all of these things, you're doing the floss, you're recording it, you're putting it on TikTok.
Yeah, you're fucking up. You're fucking up. It's just, you don't need to do all that shit. You know, honestly, you know what it is, dude? It's people do all of those things as a distraction to not actually do what they need to do, which is pick up the fucking phone and call. Like, there's not a single person here who's listening that's like, how do I make more money? They're looking for the easiest, most comfortable way. They're not actually looking for the way to make money. They're looking for the easiest and most comfortable way, right? For me to tell them a Facebook ad hack where they can type something up and then there's just money into their account. You want to know the real fucking hack to making money? Literally every single person here, pick up the phone and call somebody who you'd like to do business with you and ask them if they want to buy it, and keep doing it until someone says yes.
That is very good advice, especially real estate. I mean, any business really, right? Especially as you're getting started, you've got to, you know, call your sphere, call your people, you know, referrals. That's one that I'm working on.
I mean, it's huge. I mean, you just nailed it. I mean, it's like, look, if you go on Facebook, direct fucking message your Facebook friends and say, who do you know? And then get their number and then call them. Like, it's just the things that nobody wants to do. And you know,
it's weird. It's weird sometimes. And I started doing it. I have like 1,800 friends on Facebook. A lot of them I haven't talked to in 10 years. Literally, I could see the last message was some stupid thing. And like, hey, are you going to that party tonight? Like, I don't even go to parties anymore, especially with like the quarantine and stuff. But like, even otherwise, I'd rather just go to bed early. But like, it's weird messaging them for that first time because it's like, hey, so you got married and had like 2 kids. It's been a while. Hope all is well.
Well,
What's up?
this is why scripts are so important,
Yes.
because and this is it's really the tool. It's just it's the same thing like asking someone out on a date. It's all on date until
Right.
you have that one joke that works every time. Until you have that one pickup line that gets them talking every time, until you have those 3 questions that go every time. So same with the Facebook message. Like if you had something that felt really comfortable saying, then you would hit up everybody. So you got to identify what that is, and
Right.
that's why people use scripts and that's why they have process.
That's really good advice. I've been doing a more of a customized approach because then I kind of look at their feed. I see what's been recent. I like a couple things because I have gotten those weird messages like, "Hey, it's been a while. I haven't talked to you. Are you open to new
Well,
business
I
opportunities?"
like to. It's like, especially if you're talking for anyone, if you're talking to someone busy, right?
Yeah.
Like the beat around the bush shit. I like someone like me. It infuriates me. It's like
So just get straight to the point.
it's what the fuck do you want? And if it's dope, it's cool. So don't be afraid to
Cool.
message someone and say, "Yo, I know we haven't talked in a long time, but I want to sell you something. Here's why you should want it.
Sweet. Just
Holler
get
at me
straight
if
to
you
the
want to
point.
talk."
I
I
love
mean,
that. Short and sweet.
my sales team was in a rut one time, and I listened to their calls, and they were just being fucking weird around the close. I don't know what got in their heads at that time, and I'm like, why are you guys asking like that? And you can just tell it was fear of rejection. And I said,
Yeah.
fuck it. I said, for the next 3 days, you guys are only allowed to use one close. You want to know what it is?
Do you want to buy? Are you ready to buy?
Do you want to buy it?
Do you want to buy it? You're just asking them straight up.
Do you want to buy it? That was the only thing I allowed them to say. Guess what happened to sales?
They went up.
Oh yeah, and now it's their favorite fucking line. Awesome.
Yeah.
So do you want to buy it? Even the client here, I mean, the market is full of such pussies. Even when the customer hears it, they're like,
They're like, oh, he just asked me to buy.
oh shit, I guess so. Yeah, I do. Like it worked.
Yeah.
Like and it's something that you have to experience because when you say it and then it works, it changes your life forever. Because then you go,
Damn.
God damn it, how much money did I miss because I just didn't say, do you want to buy it? But instead, motherfuckers want to be like, well, the value is this, and if you do it, and we have a money back guarantee, shut the fuck up. Do you want to buy it?
Yes or no. Yeah.
Because then you know where you're at, and
Exactly.
then you save your time. Or if they say no, okay, why not?
That is fire. Everyone listening, rewind that
Why not?
and play it back. I need to listen to this many times over as well because I sometimes beat around the bush. I mean,
Yeah,
my
it's human. It's
personality
human. It's
test,
very
right?
human. It's very human.
Yeah,
Very human. Yeah. If you
it's
took a disc
awkward asking that
assessment,
question.
you would be somewhere probably like 30 to 60% C.
Yeah,
And gosh, yeah, but no, I think it's very normal. It's like it's all humans. We all go through it. I do too. But what happens is when you practice something so much and you experience different results, it changes your perspective on it.
absolutely.
So like, do you want to buy it sounds scary to someone who hasn't asked someone, do you want to buy it? Someone who's asked, do you want to buy it 100 times and got several people to buy it, they don't even think about it. But you have to allow the result to be able to shift your perspective on it. And that doesn't come from just doing it one time. You have to stick to it.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. Doing it over and over again seems to be the key because then it becomes more repetition where it's like second nature. You don't have to think about it, right?
That's right. And that's why we make flashcards for ourselves, et cetera. And that's the practice. With my team today, we just did a huddle up and I just said, like, we're going to practice. And I literally chose 2 people from departments. I put them against each other and I said, marketing, who writes the better headline? And I give them an example. Sales team, customer tells you this, give them an example. Customer service, customer just said this, what do you say? And I put them against each other in front of the whole team. We just role played.
So see who can come up with the best lines or knows the script best.
Yeah, because nobody practices business.
That's true.
Nobody practices business. When you think of soccer or football, you think you practice. Like obviously you practice throwing, etc. When you think of business, nobody says practice.
Right.
Which, by the way, is why everyone's scores are so low. Most people fail, 90% plus. And I guarantee you there's a direct correlation. 0 practice.
They're not practicing.
And 0 asking people to buy.
Like, it's kind of important for business. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds obvious, right? But first, it's because of the fears and everything else that comes associated. People don't do it.
That is such a good point, especially with real estate. I mean, as I've worked with more and more clients, I've been getting better at it. Like, hey, I'm not showing you any houses until you sign this form because I've shown enough houses to people who go with another agent, and then I just wasted like 3 hours of my time, right?
Yeah.
So
And letting them know, like in the beginning, like, hey, I know we're just meeting each other, but my goal is to have you as your business. At this
exactly.
point, I may not have earned, your exclusivity yet, but I want you to know that that's what I'm looking to do. And so what can I do to make this relationship so that I can earn your business and you sign this contract and you'd feel comfortable doing that? And they're
Bam.
like, wow, the fact you even asked me that, I'll sign with you right now.
Right, because they know you're actually not
You know what
afraid
I mean?
to do the
Yeah.
business. You're going to have to make the tough calls eventually, especially if the
Yeah, and they
transaction's not going well.
or they tell you, hey, I do actually have a sister who's a real estate agent, but I'll tell you what, if you can find me blank and da 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 da, and
I
then
can
you
do
get the
that.
objection early, but now you're not getting it 3.5 weeks into the process.
Exactly. You just
You know?
get right to the point. And I think it's important for people to know that because they want to do business. I had a friend who reached out to me on Facebook. I hadn't talked to him in forever. And I know he's done video and he's good at that. And he was trying to sell me something. He got me on the call and I was like closed off and hesitant. I'm like, man, I don't need anything. I got it. I'm good. I'm doing all my own videos. And then like a week later, we got on another call. And yeah, I've Venmoed him or PayPal'd him like $1,000. I'm like, all right, let's
Boom,
do
there
this.
you go. Nice, good, right? And
Yeah,
that's important is people act like the no means no. Like people
it
change their
doesn't.
minds all of the time. It may mean no right now that second, but
Yeah,
guess what? There's another second. Hey, I know you
exactly.
said no 5 seconds ago, and that was relevant. But did you
It's
see
just
this?
a
What do you see? What
reaction.
Trump just tweeted? Yeah, You want to buy it now? That's how fast it can change. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's so true. And I think it's just like a habit. I mean, you go to the store and stuff, people ask if you need help and you say no, and then you're like, damn it, I should have said yes because I have questions 5 seconds later.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you ask again,
Well,
then you
you get
add
where
value.
that comes from is like most people are saying no just because they're afraid.
Right. They don't want to
Like,
get sold or like,
yeah, maybe they don't want to get sold or they don't want to lose their money. They don't believe. Like it's usually just fear or lack of trust.
right. So until you build that trust, which I mean, you do from persistence and showing your value coming from contribution, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay, we talked about imperfections in
Or
videos
or extreme directness.
or
People,
extreme
people
directness.
people do not realize the amount of merit that comes from being very direct with somebody. May make them uncomfortable at times and may make for an awkward moment. But the
Yeah.
one thing that they'll feel comfortable with is what you're telling them.
Right.
Oh
Right.
no, that person's straight up. They'll tell you exactly what they're thinking.
I have
They
met a
trust.
few people like that, right? The strong D's. I'm sure like you got some
Yeah,
sales
the
guys that
strong
are just
D's.
like,
Yeah,
they don't care about your dog
100%.
Fluffy. They want to know if you want to
Right,
buy.
and it can rub people some the wrong way, and other people are like, "Hey, I don't want to fuck with you because of it." But the
Yeah.
one thing that you really hear from them is like, "Hey, they didn't keep it real with me,"
Right.
which is one of the biggest things that stops people from buying.
Do you guys ever have to pivot? Do your sales guys ever have to pivot if you're ever talking to like the sweet old sales lady or the sweet old lady on the phone where she wants to be nurtured and talked to for an hour before closing
Yeah,
or
and that's like advanced like pro stuff, right? There's definitely a difference in the strategy and the tactics stay the same, but the delivery and the inflection switches a bit.
okay.
Because when I teach like focus on question based selling. And so, that way there's no variable if I need to change my presentation to tell someone something because at all times I'm only presenting based off of what their needs are because I'm asking
Oh, okay.
questions. You
Okay.
know what I mean? Hey, like what's the most important thing to you? Well, John Doe is going to say something than Jane Doe but it doesn't matter. My sales process, I ask the same question, you know.
Right.
And at the end of the day, old, young, big, weak, strong, black, white, etc. Whatever you're selling, they're all going to have the same reasons to buy.
So
It
you may
doesn't
just
change.
slightly change up the questions depending on their needs and where the
I may
conversation's
ask,
going,
I will know, I'll ask the same questions, but I may change how I ask the question,
how you
right?
ask.
So,
Okay.
for example, I would ask different
Hmm.
questions to a D than I would to a C, right? And
Right.
what we're returning to is a dominant versus a cautious person. And so, when I'm talking to a cautious person, so the do you want to buy it line? Maybe, maybe not. I'd have to learn more information about them, but a dominant person, absolutely. And the dominant person would probably appreciate the fact that I asked. For the
Definitely.
cautious person, I already know their objection. It's going to be like, well, I need to think about it. So I'm preparing for that. Right. And then I
Okay.
may ask them a question like, hey, do you mind if I ask you a personal question? How many opportunities have you missed in your lifetime because you had to think about it?
Hmm.
Which one's the first one that comes to mind? What happened?
What
right?
happened
Like
on
I'm
that? Right.
no, like that's how I go through the process, right?
So you've already got the question in mind of how many opportunities have you missed because
I
you spent too
literally,
much
I
time
can talk
thinking
to
about it.
someone and no exaggeration. Like if I was selling you something, I would have been able to tell from our pre-conversation, the 45 seconds that was,
My
and the first
objections.
120 seconds, I can tell you every fucking thing. I can tell you from a mile away that you were going to tell me I had to think about it. At some point, you may hit me up with your wife or your girlfriend that she's going to be thinking
Right.
about it. Or you may tell me, well, I just did something. Well, I just did this, so let me wait until this, etc.
You got me
So
pegged. That's me. I
yeah,
consider
so
myself to be like super hard to sell. I'm like, nope,
and
nope,
you
not interested, hanging up.
100%, and you take pride in that. So I would use that to my advantage to do
Yeah,
it. I would probably tell you something like, hey man, what I like about you is you seem like the guy to not make like a rash decision and totally take in all the information.
exactly. I pride
See, and
myself in that. Thank you.
right, and then I would use that against you later in the conversation. You
Hey,
know what I mean? Like,
woo,
so you
that's
seem like
good.
I would say something like you seem like a really responsible guy. Is that
Right.
true? Yeah.
That's
So
true.
then I
So
would
you
actually
get me
say something
feeling
like this.
good.
I would say, so you need more customers, correct?
I could
So
use
what's
more
the
customers. Yeah.
so so
Whoever say
what's the
no?
so what's the most responsible thing to do for your business? Wait until later or get it done right now?
Get it done right now.
Yeah, I
Bam,
agree with you,
close.
and we're the same page. Responsible people, you get it.
Exactly. So it's
See,
just
once you
pivoting
once
the
you own
focus.
once you own the identity of you're the responsible person, okay, well, let me give you a responsible outcome. Is
Yes.
putting this off until later, thinking about is that the responsible thing to do when your business needs customers right now? No,
Hmm.
right? So that's yeah.
The hardest part, I mean, the script practice is very important with that because even like if you get pulled over and the cop says something dumb and like 30 minutes later you think of something you could have said and too late, you already got a ticket, right? You
Dude,
think
it's
of how you
all
could have saved the situation.
that's
It's the
why the
same
role
thing.
playing is so important. You can role
Yes.
play anything in life. Like with your kids, like you're like, right, I'm black. So hey, like my daughter, role play, cop pulls you over. Here's a question. Let's go. Let's see what happens. Right. People can prevent so much pain or run towards pleasure in their life by simply role playing and practicing.
That's so
Most
true.
don't.
I like what
Practice a
you
fight.
said earlier.
Practice a fight with your girl. Like if you do something that she's going to have a problem with, then literally just like practice that with your homeboys. Like, hey, I'm gonna ask to go to the party tonight, and I know she's gonna say not until da da da. So practice the response. Like everything you
Mm,
can practice.
yeah, and just
Like, or
run through the
hey,
script.
your boy hits you up. He's like, let's go on a Vegas trip. You're like, ah, shit, my girl's not gonna be having that. Okay, let's role play it. Let's go.
How are
What's
we
gonna
going to
happen?
talk her through accepting this?
Exactly. She's gonna be like,
Exactly.
give her a date. Well, what date's she gonna say? Oh, well, we have the quinceanera and we have this and da 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 da. So you're gonna have everything in your fucking thing. Oh, okay. When she hits me with that, I'm gonna tell her I already have this. And she's gonna tell me I have to go mow the lawn first. I'm already gonna do the mow the lawn. Like you
I
just
already hired somebody for it.
exactly,
I got
exactly.
it taken care of, honey.
Well, what about the kid? Well, I already got a babysitter. Mama says she's free. Like you just
Exactly.
and to the
Exactly.
point where she finally goes, well, fuck it. I just don't want you to go. So what?
Because
You
some
get to the real
people,
objection.
yeah, some people just object to everything. I mean, they don't want to cave or lose or sell. Kind of like how you pegged me. I'm like the guy who prides myself in being like, no, I'm going to think about it. I don't want to make any decisions too quickly. But at the same time, now that I'm in sales, I'm like, damn, I hate when I run into people like me
So
because
there's
they
another
stump me, right?
there's another question that I love to ask someone like you. It's like, hey, when you have a client that you found the right home for and this is in their best interest, but they tell you that they want to think about it, what do you tell them in that situation?
Like, what do you need to think about? Try to pull it out of them, right? And then address the concern right there. Like, what is
Mm.
it that you need to think about right now?
That's a
This is
good
the
point. So
perfect house that
question, what
fits.
what do you need to think about? And whatever they say, just use it back against them in that moment. Like, oh
Exactly.
no, that's awesome. So I love the switching the roles. Okay, hey, like if the roles were reversed and you had a product that was perfect for someone and you knew it could change their life, but they wanted to think about like maybe you can help me out. What would you tell them? So just
Yeah.
different things.
Right. And I guess it depends on each person. People will have different objections, but at the same time, if you ultimately believe that what you have is what they need and will help them, you
Like to
just need to
me,
help them
like
see
with
that.
us, we help businesses get customers. Whenever I talk to someone on the phone, if they're not advertising to get customers right now, there's nothing they can fucking say under the sun to make me believe that it's not a good idea for them to give me money to learn the shit. Nothing. Because
Right.
it's just not true. It's just not true. If someone's growing their business and they're not using ads to grow their shit, I am their best friend. And they should fucking send champagne bottles to our office because it's got them stuck. Right. And like I know this with conviction, right? And so that comes out in the calls. And sometimes people don't realize how many sales that they lose because they simply forget to transfer confidence. You know, it's just like you ever get into an argument with somebody, and let's think the days of pre-Google, but like the person who would win an argument is just the person who's the most fucking confident. I
Yeah.
swear to God, that's exactly what it is. I saw it on the table. She put it there. I'm telling you guys, that's exactly what happened. And everyone goes, God damn, well, shit.
Must be true.
You're just so kind. It must be true, right? Like it still happens today, unfortunately. You know, it doesn't make it more true, but it makes people believe it's more true. You know, versus the person that goes, well, I think it could. So if you're selling someone the whole time and you're like, well, I think it could. Well, I hope it could. Well, if we cross our fingers, they're going to, at the end, they're going to be like, well, shit, I think it might work, but I'll call you back when I know. Like, you know.
That's the hardest part too. So that's another important thing for everyone listening. Practice the confidence whenever you're doing your script practice, right? Because if you ask it like a question or you're unsure, people are like, has this person even done what they're saying they do very long? They don't seem to know their shit, right? So what about your content distribution strategy? Whenever you're posting on social media and just chopping up pieces of content, I mean, I know your team handles a lot of that.
I'm actually not good at it. I don't like fucking posting at all. Like,
I'm right
people
there
are like, what do you
you.
mean? People are like, what do you mean? Like, I mean, our ads have been seen 700 million times, but that's why.
Damn.
Is because we make it once and then we just pay money to put it out there to the world, and we make more money than we spend. Our model is real simple, you know, but like creating content, like even if I pull up my Instagram right now, like
I've been seeing your Instagram and your posts and your quotes and stuff.
What is it? A couple days ago, like is my last post. I don't do multiple times a day. And I mean, that's the most active platform I'm on. My Facebook, I probably haven't did it in a month. I have my team do our YouTube and just upload clips, which I don't recommend, by the way. We're actually going to do something to change that dramatically. But I mean, I don't like posting.
Yeah, it's something that we can, I mean, I guess
it's
we
necessary.
Can all work on.
People should 1,000%. Like, let me be clear the benefits, but like, I'd let you guys know I'm human just like everybody else. I'm like,
cool.
I keep my personal life pretty personal, and I got my same crew and same friends, and I chill at home. And, you know, when I'm not Billie Jeaning, you know, I'm just kicking it at the office with the homies,
playing some Xbox. Yeah.
Playing some Xbox, chilling with my daughter, you know.
That's awesome, man. And that's really refreshing to hear, because it feels overwhelming sometimes. You see the people with huge followings and they're coming out with 10 pieces of content a day. And I'm just like, man, I'm trying to actually work on my business and stuff. I mean, I know I can outsource the content piece, but I'm like creating 10.
Well, I mean, and those people, they're like professional influencers. You know what I mean? Like
they've been doing it for years.
And it's a desire of theirs. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to, you know, be posting 26 times a day. Like your business, like that's a choice. Like there's other ways to grow a business. But you got to really love that, you know? So for me, I don't really love that. So I don't fucking do that. And I do what I want.
Good shit, man. That's really important, just because I feel like I need to do everything. Like I'm not posting enough here. I got to do more Facebook ads. I got to build a better funnel. Like,
well, that's why you design your life before you design your business. And so, for example, like, let's just take John Doe. If your goal is to make 10 grand a month, you don't need to do everything. You just need to do one thing that's going to get you to 10 grand a month, and put everything into that one thing.
So do you feel like there's a goal? Like if you hit a certain number, say you want 10 grand a month, is that enough to be happy, or are you going to go to the next level? Like, how do you feel?
Happiness is a choice. You can choose to be happy.
You got to be happy
that.
all the time.
I was going to say, yeah, like you can choose to be happy at 1,000, right? Like it just depends. And so I think that's the thing is, you know, and well, that's more about a focus of gratitude, right? And understanding, you know, choosing your desires and what kind of lifestyle you want, et cetera. Because usually, I mean, the numbers should derive from people reverse engineering what they want. Saying, hey, I want to live in this place and here's how much it costs in this area. This is the kind of car I want to drive. This is the school I want to send my kids to. This is, you know, the routine I want to have with my wife. And this is where we like to do a date night. People can literally do the math right now and find out exactly how much money they make, their effective tax rate. There's no surprise in it. You know, the thing is that happens is when you get there is you're a human being and you just want more or different. That's not even more sometimes, just different, because we're humans and our taste and preferences change. We get older, our environments change, our relationship statuses change, our priorities change. So the thing is, it never changes. You always have to keep resetting your life design goal.
That's awesome. I've been doing that with my schedule. Like I have a calendar and I literally follow it, like morning routine, exercise. When the buzzer goes off, almost, it's like a school schedule. I go to the next thing just to keep my sanity. So technically this is like lunch over here in Houston. But like, you know, made an exception for good old Billie Jean. But how do you manage your priorities in your day? Because I'm sure you live by the calendar as well. I know your team
Yeah, I
helps
mean,
with some of the
I am
outsourcing.
very, very scheduled, and I have two assistants that help me a lot. One with
Cool.
personal financing, one with executive scheduling and shit, and coordinating and having a team. Let's be clear, that helps. But at any time, Taylor, she knows that I can call an audible, and I make the audibles based off of money. So Ashley sends me numbers every single day of exactly where we're at with the company, and I get an executive summary from my CFO at the end of every single day, at the end of day. And so between that report and the text I get in the morning, I can see where we're at in regards to profitability for the month. And I make actions based off of that. If I see that we're trending low or expenses are going to be higher, there's going to be a drop, or there's coronavirus. And when I'm looking at the data, then I may call a pivot and just go harder on cash. Hey, we weren't planning to do a promotion right now, but guess what? We are now. I let the money dictate. I follow the money as a CEO, because that's what I'm responsible for, making sure that we generate cash and everybody can eat good, and make sure there's opportunities in the future. So I obsess about the money, and sometimes it's really good, and sometimes like shit, we need to get it together, and I
Yeah.
got to communicate that, make sure we're marching along.
So did you say it's an audible? Like they'll give you a voice like summary of what happened today? Is that what you said?
I get written. I
Written.
was going
Okay.
to say, so I get written, yeah, full report. But
Okay.
I'm saying I call an audible, like I change the play. So for example,
Oh,
hey,
okay. Okay.
today
You changed the
we're
play.
going to shoot a video that was going to be this, and it would have been really great for our brand, or I would have done this podcast or
Mm,
something. But I may say, hey, I got to cancel the podcast. I need to do a profit producing activity. And
okay.
this will build brand, and people will listen to this, and then they'll listen to our podcast, which is Billie Jean's Marketing Offends the Internet, every Monday to Friday, 5 to 10 minute bangers coming your way. Go listen to it. Billie Jean's Marketing Offends the Internet. But but it's a longer term play, and sometimes cash you need now.
Absolutely. So you'll look at the daily numbers, and if it's an emergency, basically, like, hey, we got to make a
Yeah, but
revenue
again,
producing
I see
activity.
those things more than a day in advance sometimes. But other
Okay.
times, sometimes variable expenses come up or unforeseen thing. Just shit happens. It goes.
Yeah. Coronavirus being one of those crazy things.
Yeah, exactly. We called
Like,
audibles. We
yeah,
definitely called audibles.
it's crazy how that happened too. Cause here in Texas, it's like, okay, I got a massage the week of, like when things were starting to close down. I
Yeah.
literally went for a massage and I'm like, oh, I don't know what to think about this. It's kind of crazy. And then like 3 days later, it's like the rodeo was canceled and like, South by Southwest was canceled. I'm like, the gym got closed. Like,
Yeah,
okay, I
nobody
guess
saw
it's
it
pretty
coming,
serious.
for sure.
Yeah. So I know we got a couple minutes left here. I wanted to see what would be one key actionable takeaway that you recommend my audience do today.
Genuinely practice writing an advertisement for your business every single day. And an advertisement, just think of it. What message would you need to write where if someone reads it, they will give you money in exchange? So forget the advertising word, because that intimidates people sometimes. If you had to write a message and someone random was going to see it, what does that message need to say for them to give you money by the time they're done reading the message? If you can practice that every single day, you'll be fucking amazing. And
That's
what you'll
awesome.
find is while you're practicing that is, hey, my offer isn't good enough to people want to give me money. The deal is not sweet enough. I'm not getting them excited enough. And you start to find the holes in your business
So just do that every single day, even as
every
practice.
single fucking day. And
Awesome.
then the second part to that, because there's a part two of it, is send it to people who can buy.
Make an
And that is
ad.
advertising,
Yeah.
right? So you can manually do it and send it in emails. You can send it in DM on a Facebook, or you can use paid ads on Facebook and YouTube. And that's the fastest way. I mean, you spend $5 or $10 and show it to 1,000 people,
Awesome. And then for your offer, are you basically to dial it down a little more into the trenches? You have like the same link. Basically, you're sending them to a landing page with the offer, with the checkout button or whatever, booking
It
appointment.
depends on what John Doe's sales mechanism is, right? So
Right.
the offer may be to get on the phone if I'm closing people on the phone. If it's during normal times, and maybe to have people come to my office, and that's the call to action. It may
Okay.
be to send people to a web page. So depending on what the sales mechanism is, point them that way.
So even just like a booking link, like, hey, schedule a call. That's the call
100%.
to
Yep.
action.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
So if someone's closing on the phone and they want people to schedule, writing a message literally every single day. And by the way, trying different angles, trying different headlines, trying different emotions. Make one sad, make one serious, make one emotional. Make one towards old people, make one towards young people. Make one to men, make one to women, make one to parents, make one to single people, make one to college grads, and see what bangs, see what resonates, because we don't know. We don't know.
Right. Do you have any book recommendations for that? I have this one that I've been
Cash
reading,
advertising.
How to Write a Good Advertisement. I've been going through this.
Oh, I haven't read it. It looks cool though.
It's an
Yes,
older book.
cash advertising. Cash advertising.
Cash advertising. Yeah, I think this one
Yeah.
was, it looks like it says
It's read like
copyright
that too.
1962. Cash
Oh, there you go.
advertising. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, get it right now. I think I have it
Awesome.
upstairs.
So you said scaling up earlier and then cashvertising,
Hmm.
right?
By the way,
In
people,
your book.
you're listening, you guys will notice that everybody that is smart in doing shit, they read or they're learning from people. It's
Absolutely.
a success leaves clues. And if you're not educating yourself on a consistent basis, you will be a basic fuck for your whole life and be
Start
very
reading.
unhappy. Books are the cheat codes to life, you know, and I don't care if it's an auto book or you're reading the book. It's just learning from other people. That's the real secret.
That is a huge secret right there. So where can our audience go to find you? You said you're having a new
Billy
book coming out
Jean is
soon.
Marketing Offends the Internet podcast, baby. Every Monday to Friday. It's wildly inappropriate. God, it's inappropriate. I talk about hand jobs and like
Oh, nice.
business and the correlation, the
How they,
correlation of the two. Yeah, how they go.
I'd be very curious to see how that goes
Yeah, and
hand in hand, I guess.
every single morning we focus on trending subjects. You know, so sometimes it's a stimulus package, sometimes it's Adele losing weight, and I always bring it back to business and actionable things that they can put into their business to make more money. It's entertaining as shit, it's helpful as shit, but God, it's inappropriate. So if you don't like, you know, potty mouth, racist, sexist, like satire, fucking Family Guy meets South Park meets Tony Robbins, then, you know, get out. Get out now.
South Park
Know.
meets Tony Robbins. That's awesome. I've never heard that. I'll have to go check that out. So your podcast, you said you have a book coming out here soon. You started writing a book during the quarantine.
Yeah. I'm not going to drop it on him yet. I'm not going to drop it on him yet. But,
sounds good. And then your website, so you can pixel people and they can see your awesome ads.
BillyGeneIsMarketing.com. You go to BillyGeneIsMarketing.com or follow us on it's Billy Jean is Marketing everywhere. Instagram, YouTube, Billy Jean is Marketing. It turns out not too many people were fighting for that domain, so we were able to snatch it on everything.
That's awesome. Well, hey, Billy Jean, I really appreciate your time. It's been great having you on the show. Definitely going to go check out your podcast and get these 2 books that you recommended.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Cheers. Thanks so much. Take care.